Hi, Eileen Dillon, MSW here again. And in this meeting, I would like to talk with you more about the lessons that are being brought to us through the coronavirus pandemic. We can't take life for granted, is one that we mentioned in the last session. That is, when we were children, we just believed that life goes on, that we have the same parents, that we're going to be going to school tomorrow, etc. The children of today will never again have the idea that life goes on uninterrupted. Most of them are out of school and may be out of school for the remainder of the school year. So, part of what we need to learn is that we can't take this for granted. We need to really appreciate that we have life, that we have opportunities to participate in life, and we need to ask ourselves to consciously and fully engage in life. Another thing is that we need to learn to face fact. Many years ago, I heard an Indian yogi giving a lecture in San Francisco, and he talked about this concept of facing fact. Facing fact means to look squarely at what is actually happening, not what you think is happening, not what somebody else tells you is happening, not what you hope is happening, not what you ignore so you don't have to face what's happening. We really need to look squarely at things. And what this yogi offered is that as soon as we face fact, we are free of the effects. He gave this example. He was all dressed in white and very serene looking and sitting in front of about 200 people on top of a desk in the Lotus uh, position. And he said, suppose I'm sitting here and a man walks in that door and he has a gun and he points it at me and he says, I'm going to kill you. What do you think I would do? Well, this man was very serene and, calm, and nobody could come up with an answer. He said, I'm still attached to my body. I still want to live. I might yell or plead for my life or try to run away. And he said, but suppose I face the fact that that man is going to kill me. What do I do then? He said, I get ready to die. And in the moment that I decide to get ready to die, that man no longer has power over me and my consciousness. I have power over me. I have choice about who I am as I die. He does not have that choice over me. Now, that's a very powerful concept, and you may never have to face it in that form, but think about it. If you face squarely what's happening, you can be free of the effects. Let's look at coronavirus. Squarely, there's a virus moving around this world that has the capacity to kill millions of people. We know a few things we can do. We can stay away from each other. We can uh, keep distance when we are around other people. We can wash our hands with great frequency. There are things we know to do that we can do, but we have to face fact. Those people who are still in denial are not facing fact. Yesterday, I saw a video of young students on spring break in Florida partying together as if there were no coronavirus in the world right now. I don't know what will happen with those young people. I hope nothing horrible. At the same time, they were not facing fact. They were not realizing that there is a real possibility they could get quite ill from this virus. So another thing is to what's a third thing? It's important to change how we live here on the earth. We've been taking things for granted, not looking facing fact. So we've been taking our earth and its health, Mother Nature, we've been taking it for granted. Many of us have been taking our own health for granted, and we haven't paid attention to how we eat, how we nourish ourselves, how much responsibility we take for becoming ill. That's really evident to me. I am now 77 years old, and I believe that I'm in great health at this point in time, have been for a few years, even though 3 years ago I was diagnosed with a small breast cancer, but I was able to deal with that with no side effects and no extensive treatment. But a lot of people are going ahead and drinking. They're going ahead and taking drugs. They're going ahead and eating foods with saturated fatty content, all kinds of things that we've been told are not good for our bodies. And then when we get sick, we go to the medical profession and we say, make me well, give me a pill. We're not really taking responsibility for ourselves, and therefore we don't have a lot of freedom. And we also are not keeping ourselves really healthy. And we have a choice to do that. And there are other things, of course. I'm just mentioning a few things, but we really need to examine part of our lesson is to examine how we live on the earth and in our lives. Um, Another interesting thing, my husband died 4 years ago, and for some reason, he was sick for about 5 years. For some reason, people of a psychic nature would say to me, well, you can do this because your husband's not going to be living much longer. And I thought to myself, why are these people telling me this? After all, if I'm going to take care of my husband and be present, and he was ill and died at home, if I'm going to be present, then I don't need to be thinking about the fact, well, he's going to die anyway, right? I need to stay right here in the present. I need to focus on what's going on. And I don't want to influence what he does, what he decides, what his children or my children decide regarding him and his illness. So I need to stay present, live my life, even though I know that. And that's part of what coronavirus is doing for us right now as well. We know we could die. We know we could get ill. We know this is terrible. And yet, and we know we can't go to work or interact with people the way we have been, at least for a time. And yet, we need to go forward with our lives as if it weren't happening. Now, an interesting thing is that wherever we focus our attention, that's where we go. So, a big part of learning lessons and dealing with COVID-19 is deciding where we want to focus our attention and energy. Many people are in the process of focusing on fear, on the worst possible things that could occur, where many people are focusing on serving. I was talking with someone today who said, coronavirus is in the world. I'm looking for ways to help others. We can also say, what can I do that heals me? If I'm not ready to heal others or help them, what can I do to love myself and take care of myself? These are all alternatives, and we have the option to choose where we focus our attention. Personally, I'm choosing not to focus on fear. And as you see, I'm focusing on what can I do to help others, which incidentally is also helping me simultaneously. One of the things I've learned over the years is that each individual is responsible for his or her own life. We are, in fact, co creators of our lives. We put our attention and energy into our part, and we match with the attention and energy that's in the world. And that means we need to take responsibility. And responsibility is not a bad thing, it's an opportunity to have choice. It means just saying, okay, if this is what I need to do, what can I do about it? How can I take responsibility? So I'm going to leave you with that thought. Go and think over these things that we've talked about today and ask yourself, what could I do to take responsibility in and for my own life? You may run into some ideas that you don't want to take responsibility. Make note of what you might not want to take responsibility for. I'm Eileen Dillon, talking with you about life and coronavirus and our giant school and emotions and emotional mastery. Until next time.